Good day everybody, welcome back to the channel. What I have here is a continuation of the video which I had started with USHER, who had visited me from the United States for a couple of weeks and stayed with me, and we had a ball of a time. So we did one piece together in those 2 weeks, can you believe it? Anyway, her piece was absolutely amazing, and I wasn't too happy with my ocean scene, so I just swiped all the colors together, which was only like a few colors, and created like a continuous wave. And then what I did was I embellished it a little bit with an acrylic pen, just to give me an outline of what I want to do. So this person just appeared, which is what happens when you're kind of letting go. And I had some really nice Zen music happening, and all these things kind of appeared, which is absolutely marvelous, I think. So I'm just going along now with a brush and some acrylic paints, and creating a wave, which kind of it goes with the face and the hair, like so. Each section, just looking at the video while I was editing, just watching and thinking. At each point I could have stopped there, but I needed to add more, and I didn't even think about it at the time. It just kept flowing, really. So there's a couple of fish there. The face looks like a combination of fish and bubbles and things like that coming out of the mouth. Quite interesting, really. So I've mixed a little bit of blue metallic acrylic paint and some green metallic, and just adding a bit of teal, which was the combination of the two, creates a really nice teal. And just adding that to the hair / wave. I just really enjoy the brushwork. I love it. I absolutely enjoy mixing colors and putting them together and just creating something. And it's a slow process for me, because I keep adding and then adding more layers to it. It all adds to the piece. Just seeing here, I'm adding some tones, just mixing a little bit of blue and a bit of green, and creating a nice teal, and then adding some white highlights and building this story. And please don't get angry at me for saying what I'm saying, because one person had left my channel and unsubscribed because she didn't like what I was saying. She or he, I couldn't tell by their name, which wasn't a regular name. It was just one of those words that people use for their profile titles, I guess. But I really believe that we are all connected in some way. We're all connected. We share the same thoughts. Nothing really that you think of somebody else haven't thought about already, because we've existed for so many years together, and we breathe the same air, we drink the same water, so we are all connected in some way. So if you're going to get angry at me saying things like, the universe, works within us and all that stuff, then don't be part of my channel. I really am sorry that you feel that way, if you do, because there's a lot of people who will agree with me, and I'm just expressing what I'm feeling. And I think a lot of people do, and a lot of people feel the same kind of feelings, but they don't express it. And like I said before, this is what I love about artists, the true artists who are not afraid to express what they're feeling and put it on a canvas, whatever medium they're using, whether it's, you know, resin art or whatever art, even pouring art, you know, it's still an expression, and your emotions come out within that piece that you're doing. So just chill out, relax, and express yourself. And just working on the eyes now. So I've got a little bit of blue acrylic paint in there, and it's still a little bit wet, and I'm just adding some white, which is also quite wet, and just dipping my finger in there and adding a little bit more white. And then when I dip the finger in there now, wow, it just brings them to life. It just looks like an ocean inside there, and it's just amazing what you can do just with a touch. Isn't it wonderful? So just adding some more white to the eyeballs, and you know, extending the eye a little bit so it looks a bit like a fish. Actually, it looks quite like a fish. And this is another thing that, you know, you just keep going, and don't think about what it looks like. Just keep going, go with the flow, and don't think about it too much. Don't let your ego step in and say it doesn't look right, it doesn't look natural, it doesn't look normal. What's normal? I'd like to ask you all, what is normal these days? Like any day, you know, you just go with the flow and create art. That's what we're doing. Express yourself. I can't stop saying that. Express yourself and look into your art. I can tell you that. I can go through my artwork over the years, many years of art creating, and then looking at the stages that I've gone through in my life and the different artwork that I was coming up with. It's just amazing. It's a story within itself, really. So building a little bit of a wave-like thing there within the eyeball of this being. I nearly called it a creature, but it is a being. It's probably a little bit metaphoric, but nonetheless, you know, it's still creative artwork. And then putting in some highlights as well as some shading around the irises very shortly. That'll come up, and you can really see that really makes those irises pop, and you know, just makes them look a little bit more believable as what they're supposed to be standing for and representing. And now here I'm really building that wave now, so you can actually see that resembles a wave within the eyeball, which is kind of cool, I think. Even though I didn't plan it to be like that, I didn't plan any of it, but I just went with it. I just became an instrument, and the music is just amazing, and I'm so glad that I didn't video it silently, because, you know, I just wanted to really be in the moment and create art. With this thing, this is just the skin, and it's just the drips of resin with a little bit of color that kind of sat on this bubbly kind of plastic. See that? It's all like a honeycomb kind of design there, which is perfect for what I want to hear. And that little hole there will fit perfectly around the eye. And so what I did was, you might see a little mark there. I just marked off where I think I want to cut that off. And I might just even leave this where it is. I've marked it off here, so I've buggered it up. I might actually cut it off there as well. So then what I do is, oh, hold on, before I get onto that, where's my other piece? Here it is, it was hiding underneath this. So this little piece, I'm just going to slide it in here. That's the piece that was here. Took that off, and it fits perfectly here underneath, or right across the eye, and it looks a little bit like she's welling up, and there's a big tear coming down there. So this will be covered in resin, but it's just that little design that it's gonna really help kind of amplify this story. So alright, so that's what I'll do. I've just marked it with this little tool. This is just a little cheapie that I think I got on Wish or something like that. It's great for signing your piece when you're done with it because it's battery operated. But I won't cut it with that. I just marked it with that, and I'm just going to cut it with my scissors. Very carefully, but because it's fairly thin, and I'm being careful not to snap it. This can happen. So there you go, that's that done now. And now what I'll do is I'll go around, and I might not need to. See, that fits in there beautifully now, just like that. Beautiful fit. So what I might do is I've just got a little steel file. I've got a few of them. I find them very handy. So I'm just going to go outside and just flatten this bit a little bit, see, because it is kind of thick and I don't want it poking out. So I'm just going to sort of sand it on both sides and flatten it down a bit. Alright, with the, alrighty, I might as well do the whole lot before I go on to silent again. So what I'll do is, that fits there like that. It's quite interesting. I will have a little fish tail poking out of here, and I will create a splash. And I also need to flatten that down like I did with this one. See the difference? I don't know if you can see that. Yep, so I will do the same thing on both sides, just because it just makes it nicer to, it sits more kind of natural than this big thing poking out, and then you have to build up the resin, which is not what I want to do. So here I'm just mixing the blue and the green and creating a really nice teal color, which is metallic acrylic, and just painting those skins. Those little fish tails were just you know, resin poured into a mold, and not quite filled up to the top, so they're a little bit skinny, but I can still use them. I do that often when I have some leftovers. I just fill a mold and use it later on. So I had a few laying around, and just kind of painting them with this paint, and I'm just using my finger really to go back and forth and fill in the gaps and things like that. And I am going back and forth as well with editing this video, because I have already, well, I thought I edited it and saved it, but some of the things were muted, so that's really weird. So that's why I'm jumping in, and you can probably hear the different sounds and things like that every now and then. That's because I'm jumping in and filling in the gaps really of the muted areas. And just showing you here how I dip my finger into that gold paint and just go against the scales of this fish tail, and yeah, it works really well, especially when I do it with my finger, because you know, it's a flatter surface and it works really well. Okay, so time to build the face up a little bit. So I'm just going to literally add, I've mixed my resin. I've only got about 60 mils in there, because I only want to do the face, and if I have any left over I'll just spread it out. I'm literally just going to dip my toothpick, which is one of those shish kebab sticks, and pop it in here. I don't want a lot, I just want to discolor this, so I might have to add a little bit more to it. So I'm going to play with this. I'm just going to keep going back and forth, adding, not double dipping of course, but I think maybe a little bit more will do. I just want to change. I'll see it's happening. It's very easy to overdo it, and I certainly don't want to overdo it. I just want to make sure that she is a little bit darker, and you know, I don't want, it'll just look weird if those lips are so white standing out, and you know, oh yeah, that's all I wanted. Just see that? See how transparent that is? Just want to change the color slightly, just that tiny little dip. You've seen it. Now I'm going to go over the lips and see if that's good enough. And I'm going to put a little bit more in actually. Okay, so I'm building the face up now. So I'm happy with the tone of that really transparent teal. So I dipped again the same amount. So you would have seen it the first go, and just mixed it all together, and it was perfect. So then whatever I had left over, I just spread it around all over the piece, and you know, just kind of just make it all flow, because you know, I did have a little bit extra that I needed to use up. You can't waste any resin, can you? Okay, back to the painting now. So you can see that I'm using that really thin pointy stick to build some of the waves. So I've got the clear resin over the piece already, and I'm just adding a little bit of the white, which I had mixed, the angel white, and just using the heat gun now on low first and then high speed, just to push it a little bit. So I'm just turning it around because it's easier for me to kind of blow it from this angle, and also it'll be easier for you to see what I'm doing. So not a lot is showing at this point, but it will. And I'm just dragging the white just to continue that, you know, creating continuation of that wave, just so it doesn't kind of start there and stop there. It's continuing. And adding a little bit more white at the bottom there, which I will also blow a little bit with the heat gun just to create a bit of lacing. And that angel white is amazing for that. Even if you use a tiny little bit, it'll still do it. And just going around now with the white, adding more depth, just building these waves. That's what I'm doing, building the waves. And the whole time, as I'm adding the white, because a few of the areas are quite wet, I'm just watching the whole piece, so that when I do apply heat, it doesn't affect the areas which I've already done. And now building another wave. This is going to be quite a big wave here. So I'm just adding some clear first, clear resin, and then adding some white, and then blowing the white over the clear with the heat gun. Now I do have the heat gun on high heat, high speed. It's already hot enough, so it just depends on which angle you do it from. And this one I did this way, and then I decided that I didn't like it like that. I just wanted to create a wave which was crashing down, but all the other waves I did it the other way around, which worked better. But you will see what I do with this wave towards the end of this video, and it all worked out well. It's all about fixing things as you go. You know, we don't all know everything. As a collective, yes, we do know everything, but as an individual, you know, it's a trial and error really. And next time I will know, and that's why these videos are really helpful for me as well, because I can see where I've kind of made a mistake. Now I could have dragged some of those, some of that white down and a little bit towards the middle, and then created a really nice splash. But I didn't think of it at the time. It just didn't reveal itself to me like that. So now just looking at it, I'm thinking, yeah, that would have made a really nice splash upwards. But it didn't happen. It still worked out really well. So I'm just adding a little bit more white, just building a few more waves. And this time you can see that I'm building that wave at the bottom, and then I'm going to be blowing it up from the bottom up, which creates a really, really nice wave. This is like a downward wave, and the one below it is an upward wave. So there's a couple of techniques here that you can learn and apply them to your artwork, and just adding some more white. Really, it ends up with quite a bit of white, but it's a real wavy, wild kind of sea with lots of fish going, yee-haw, I'm riding a wave. And I'm really looking towards naming this painting Riding the Wave, although the fish underneath there, which looks a little bit like a marlin, is riding against a wave, just kind of through the wave. So it says something. Does it tell you something? It's definitely telling me something. So I'm just playing with some more waves down here and here and there, just building the story. And you'll hear me talking about the story a lot in my pieces, and that's what it's all about. It's building a story, it's creating a story, and that's what it's doing. Oh, my phone just left me a message. I do apologize about that, but I will continue on because this video has really taken me a long time to edit, so I'm not going back. I'll be buggered if I'm going to go back again. So I'm doing all this for you guys, so you can see and you can create amazing stuff. It's just a little piece that I did, which you can, I'm sure, do better. Just have a go. Have a go. It's nice to pour resin and create cells and lacing and things like that, but that's just the start. Then start playing with it and start creating, you know, stories. Yeah, start creating stories. So that's what I'm doing, and I'll continue doing that for quite a while now. So I will probably finish soon, and there will be another piece coming up, another video, because this video is already dragged on for quite some time. So I think I'm gonna kind of cut it here and do another video where I add the fish tails and things like that, so that you can see that part as well. But for now, I think this is it. I do thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you're new to my video, to my channel, because you know I'm always uploading some cool stuff and interesting things that you can relate to, or you can try to recreate and do better. I always say do better than me and show me what you've done. I always like seeing people, you know, sending me emails with their artwork that have been inspired by my videos. It's a real compliment to me, and I do appreciate it. So please don't feel like you're pestering me or anything. Just do it. I'm happy to read all those emails and comments and everything. So have a go. That's all I say, is have a go. Thank you again for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you're new to Le'Rez Pigments and doing resin art, you need to try these pigments because they are special and especially made for resin art, epoxy resins that is. And the metallics are all unique because they are all mixed by me, by my own little hand, using machines and things like that, but it's still my mix, so they're quite unique. So have a go at doing that.
I didn't understand.
I just thought I'd clarify the last voice that you heard. That was just Bixby. It's a Samsung version of Siri. Just chimed in because she didn't understand what I was saying. So as long as you understand what I was saying, that's it's all good. Thanks for watching, guys. All the best. Bye.